In addition, healthcare and energy remain at the forefront. All I would say to my friends watching at home this evening is that we've heard this before. It's time for a real, honest change in the leadership in Washington. The only way we're going to pass a smart energy bill, an improved health care bill that looks out for working people, the only way we're going to ensure that college tuition comes down for middle-class kids is to ensure that we change the structure there. And Ms. Corker, I've watched you on the news and I've watched you in the commercials. Happy birthday, young lady. I wish I'd said it a little earlier. I apologize.
Thank you. Vicki?
Jim Johns is here now to present the question on terrorism, and Mr. Corker, you will respond first.
9/11 brought the threat of terrorism to our front doors. Former President Clinton has said that what's driving terrorism is the illusion that our political, cultural, and religious differences matter more than our common humanity. How would you change our approach to terrorism? Do you believe the methods we choose now can change extremist attitudes and affect the number of terrorists we must fight in the future?
Well, I do think that we need, thank you for the question, I do think that we need to work with countries all over the world as it relates to terrorism. I do believe that we need to have collateral efforts. I do believe that some of the more moderate countries in the Middle East need to play a bigger role in making sure that not only extremism does not prevail in places like Iraq and other places, but that they get the message out to the world that that is not what it's all about. That's not what they are all about. There's no question that terrorism is real. There's no question that I was in Israel last August a year ago, and it was amazing to see the tensions that are there between the Palestinians and the people of Israel. It was amazing. It was amazing to see that young people in Palestine and many places are taught as young people to hate our way of life, to hate Israel. So this is a long-term process, and there's no question one of the biggest things we can do is make sure that people are not living under oppressive regimes that cause their standard of living to be so low that they resort to terrorism just so that they feel like they have a place in this world. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of collateral efforts by a lot of other countries in addition to ours. And I look forward to helping make that happen.
Mr. Ford?
When I graduated college 14 years ago, University of Pennsylvania, 1992, I was 22 years old. The Cold War was ending, the Berlin Wall had fallen. There was a great belief that America was embarking on a new era, the world would be nuclear armed free. 14 years later, 9 countries have nuclear weapons. 40 more want them. Argentina, South Africa, Australia, and among the 40. We now learn that North Korea not only has the capacity to build nuclear weapons, but indeed may have one. I'm a believer that the President of the United States, if he was thinking long-term about this, I believe, would look to appoint 3 emissaries to that region of the world. I'd ask former Senator Howard Baker, a great statesman, Madeleine Albright, the former Secretary of State, and Sam Nunn, the respected senator from Georgia, to lead my emissary team to the Korean Peninsula, to work with our allies and even begin the process or explore the process of bilateral talks with North Korea. With Iraq, I've laid out a plan. Admittedly, it will be a hard one to achieve, but the whole proposition in Iraq is hard. And if we believe we can follow the same course and have better results, we're kidding ourselves and, more importantly, sentencing our kids to another generation, a new generation of warfare. If I were president, I'd go beg Colin Powell to come back and be my emissary there, to have veto authority over everyone in the administration but President Bush, to lead an effort to help craft a better solution in Iraq. If they don't like the 3-state solution, try something else. The reality is what we're doing is not working. Long-term, sir, we are in a more dangerous position than we were 14 years ago and even 5 years ago. Because if Kim Jong-il exports what he has to Al-Qaeda or any gang that seeks to do us harm around the world, the children I want to have one day, and even my opponent's kids, and everybody here, we will find ourselves in a far worse position then than we do now.
Mr. Corker.
We do have a different approach on North Korea. I think that the fact that the 6-party talks are taking place, that Russia and China and South Korea are at the table is a healthy thing. And I've never seen a time when 6 people sit around the table that there aren't bilateral talks. We tried this back in '94 when he came into office. President Clinton tried that, and the whole time they were creating nuclear weapons. So I think the six-party talks are very healthy, and I think that the neighbors that have so much more at stake.
Time's up, Mr. Corker. I'm sorry, your time's expired. Vicki?
Our next question concerns terrorism and human rights, and Mr. Ford will respond first. Ricky Z will read the question.
Good evening, gentlemen. Americans were appalled at the abuse of prisoners in Abu Ghraib. The new Military Commissions Act accords broad powers to the executive branch in arresting, detaining, and using methods of interrogation to anyone it deems as an enemy combatant. This includes U.S. citizens. Do you feel this act is compliant with the Geneva Convention and the United States Constitution? And in lieu of it, what can we do to reestablish the United States as a protector of human rights in this world?
You raise a great question. Two things. One, I supported both of those bills, and it may cause some consternation for some, but we find ourselves in a different moment, a different era, with a different set of enemies. I believe that America not only must be a leader on the military front, but we must be a leader also in promoting and defending human rights. But when you're fighting an enemy that doesn't play by a set of rules that we play by, you have to alter your rules. What we voted for in the Congress less than a few weeks ago, I believe struck a balance in ensuring that one day when our troops are captured by Marines, that they're treated right and fair. And that at another time, if as we capture their troops, they can be assured that they will be treated fairly as well. A low moment in this war came, not when those soldiers may have mistreated those Iraqi soldiers, but when America and the Pentagon and the President took no steps to punish any of the higher-ups. All they did was try the lowest level, those who were not trained. That's not American. We call that a lack of accountability. I'd say one point to my opponent on North Korea where we differ. We've tried the way that the President has wanted now for 6 years, and it's not worked. When Colin Powell left office as Secretary of State under former President Clinton, he urged President Bush to pursue the path that Clinton had done in North Korea. They chose not to, and today, North Korea has a much larger arsenal than it did before. We need a change.
Mr. Corker.
I think it's very, very healthy that, again, the people who supply the food and petroleum and all the things that make North Korea work are at the table with us. So we just disagree on that issue. But as it relates to this act, we do live in a world. We live in a world that is very different than it was years ago. And so we do have to make our laws adapt to those things. We had some negotiations that took place. There were some senators who had concerns about the Geneva Convention and some of the rules that needed to stay in place to make sure that our military men and women would be treated fairly if things happened in their case. And so we came to an agreement as a country, came to an agreement in Washington. I think the things that happened in the prison were horrible, reprehensible, and I think everybody who's seen that thinks that that's not what America stands for. I absolutely agree with you 100%. That hurt us around the world, and certainly I think the people responsible for that, all up and down the ladder, should be punished. But I think we need to remember that when we look at these laws, that the world has changed greatly. And I think that we need to have people in Washington who err on the side of making sure that we're safe and secure. We need to have sunset provisions so that if we see that these are being abused, we can go back and revisit these so that we make sure that civil liberties are also not taken for granted or abused. But I really do believe that as a country, with all these men and women in the audience and young children, we in this world, in today's world, need to do everything that we can to make sure that people are safe and secure, and at the same time respecting human rights. Thank you.